So I'm here in Christchurch. We're just about to, with Professor Pete O'Sullivan, we're about to go into the New Zealand Physio Conference. And Pete, welcome back to Christchurch. You were last here in 1986.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice. It feels like coming home, really. I did my last year of my training in Christchurch, and then 3 years, one in a hospital and 2 in private practice before I went to Perth, and it was a pretty important place for me, really, where I kind of started out as a clinician, had a lot of fun climbing in mountains and doing dangerous stuff before I realised I needed to kind of get a bit further educated.
Yeah. And then what was that early education? What was your early research into, Pete?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I came from my basic training with a really strong biomechanics and pathoanatomical lens, which I took into the work that I was doing. And so, we were kind of saw pain through a lens of biomechanics, and we got caught up in the whole neutral zone, core stability, stabilization exercise space, where we were thinking that pain was related to, pathoanatomical or biomechanical problems in the spine.
Yeah.
And pretty quickly realized we had a lot of beliefs that weren't well supported by the evidence, and had to make a bit of a shift. And that was probably around the time of the It's Time for Change paper that was published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, which was really an acknowledgement of a lot of the work that I'd done was seen through this lens of a belief system that wasn't evidence-based, I suppose, and that demanded a change for me as a clinician, I suppose, to take a much more of a biopsychosocial lens, but also as a researcher to consider a person in pain through the lens of their whole experience and, them as a person.
So that 2012 paper, It's Time for a Change in the Management of Low Back Pain, that was sort of a coming out for you.
It was, yeah. It was really important for me, actually, because I was a point of reflection, I think, that my beliefs had driven my interpretation of a lot of the things that I was seeing, and realised that actually the data we were collecting just didn't support those beliefs. And to be true to the data, we had to change. And that was kind of a challenging time, but actually a really kind of freeing time as well, to kind of open up all these other ways of understanding pain that were not constrained to that kind of mindset.
And so you're here now to talk about, at the conference, to talk about cognitive functional therapy. Can you tell us where you're at?
Yeah, so look, that's been a really interesting journey for us to kind of look at pain from a multi-dimensional perspective and realise that all the evidence is pointing to it's complex. That pain is influenced by so many factors, by our genetics, by our structure, by the way of our environment, our thoughts, our emotions, our lifestyles, our general health. All these things are part of the potpourri that for any individual could influence their pain. And then, our interest was particularly around persistent or chronic disabling pain, of when that pain didn't go away and it started disrupting someone's life, and realizing that actually that was way less about structure or biomechanics and much more about a person's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And targeting them was a key focus of developing therapies that could dismantle some of those processes. And so cognitive functional therapy, or we call CFT, was really an intervention that has evolved within physiotherapy practice to kind of help people reframe, understand pain, make sense of their pain through a biopsychosocial lens, of build confidence back in the body, of becoming less protective and re-engaging in normal activities of daily living, because there's so much fear around pain, and then addressing lifestyle factors in terms of re-engaging in physical activity, managing stress, getting healthy sleep, dietary factors, all of those things which are really big potential drivers of inflammation and sensitization in the system.
Yeah. Oh, we're really looking forward to listening to you this weekend, Pete. And And so, what's the next phase for you? Where to from here?
Yeah, so last year was a kind of big year for us because we had the publication of the Restore trial, which was published in the Lancet, which was a big multi-centre trial where we trained up like 18 clinicians to treat a really disabled group of people, about 500 people in that trial. And the effect sizes for that trial were, demonstrated large and sustained effects, reductions in disability, pain, reductions in pain catastrophizing, fear, increased confidence, and it saved a lot of money. So that was a really important trial, and that sort of set the stage for our next chapter, which is implementation, really. And we're in the two phases, really. One is around developing like a social enterprise, which will it's a mechanism of developing a training package to translate what we've learned in the Restore trial to other clinicians around the world, but also to enable implementation studies to see how does this work in the real world. When we train people up and put them in the real world, does this perform in the same way as it does in a clinical trial? And that's a really important question that we have.
Yeah.
So that's going to keep us busy
Yeah.
for a while, I think.
Oh, Pete, well, look, congratulations on the work done so far, and we're really looking forward to listening to you at the conference, and welcome back to Christchurch.
Yeah, thanks. And look, I'm part of a really big team of people who just do amazing work, and I may be often a spokesperson for that group, but I'm one small piece of a big machinery, and I pay great respect to those people who enable me to do the work that I do, and this wouldn't happen without all of them. So it takes a big village to do this kind of stuff, and I'm super grateful to be part of that village, and it's lovely to be back home, to be in this beautiful country and connect with people again.
Well, thanks, Professor Pete O'Sullivan and the team of the Cognitive Functional Therapy team, and look forward to seeing you at the conference, New Zealand Physiotherapy Conference in Christchurch.
Thanks, Anthony. Cheers.